there, taking the train up, and I guess they're limiting Caltrain service right now. They might be electrifying the tracks, making these trains electric with the overhead wire. So that means that the trains aren't running as often, and that means that I could do a 49ers Q&A. Every time that I have a little bit of free time, I love to come on live. And there's a lot to talk about today because John Lynch had his pre-draft press conference. So good time to react here from beautiful Mountain View, as you can see behind me. Maybe this is a better angle right here. You can see that city arch behind me. And I can field some questions right here. We can talk. And then my train should show up in a few minutes. And then I'll be on my way probably toward a burrito. So questions that you have for the 49ers or for me about the 49ers, fire away, because we've got the draft coming up. We've got the roster building process happening as we speak. 23 spots left for the 49ers to fill. Most of them will be filled by rookies on this draft weekend. Maybe a couple more veterans will be added to this football team, but I think for the most part, they've done all their signings. They've got a couple $1 million in salary cap space, and we've seen what the philosophy is for the 49ers over the past several seasons, and especially here this offseason, it has been crystallized. This team is focused on paying the A-listers, letting the B-listers walk. The question now is Brandon Ayuk an A-lister or is he a B-lister? Well, the 49ers don't have to decide right now. They could be blown away by a trade offer for Brandon Ayuk on this draft weekend. But if they're not, which is probably going to be the likely scenario, they're going to pick up his fifth-year option before the deadline on Monday. That will mean that Brandon Ayuk remains under contract with the 49ers on the guaranteed salary through the 2024 season, and they could use the 2023 season to appraise whether or not he's an A-lister or a B-lister. Another 1,000-yard season would mean that Brandon Ayuk is probably an A-lister for the 49ers. They keep A-listers. There's been one exception, DeForest Buckner. They might regret trading him a few years ago, but then again, I don't think that in the DeForest Buckner situation, it was a clear-cut story. They saved a lot of money by not keeping DeForest Buckner. It allowed them to sign not only Eric Armstead, but also Jimmy Ward. So these are complicated equations. But in general, if you are an A-list player drafted by this regime, DeForest Buckner was not. He was a carryover from the previous regime. If you're an A-list player drafted by this regime, you will be extended. Nick Bosa is going to be extended this offseason. Not even a question with Nick Bosa. There is no trade avenue with Nick Bosa. I think John Lynch made sure to make that clear today. That's the one guy that is untouchable on this 49ers team. Anyway, I'm ready for some questions now. Trey Lance, not the same deal as Brandon Ayuk. Trey Lance is not proven at all. He hasn't done anything yet. Somebody's very excited that Frank Gore has been sitting in on scouting meetings. I would love for him to stay involved. Well, I'll tell you what about Frank Gore. He was one of the big proponents for Sam Darnold. Frank Gore was teammates with Sam Darnold with the New York Jets in 2020, and he absolutely loves Darnold's moxie. He loves his game. And I talked to Frank Gore about this a couple weeks ago on the field at Levi Stadium. Frank thinks that Sam Darnold with Kyle Shanahan is going to light it up. Frank Gore is a huge believer in Sam Darnold. So Frank has been sitting there in some of these meetings. It was nice and sunny here in Santa Clara. I could tan while I do this. Why not keep this in the sun for a little bit? Frank has been sitting in these meetings, and he hasn't been talking much, according to John Lynch. But we do know that he told Jed York that he really, really loves Sam Darnold. And he played with Sam Darnold. So that was 2020. That was the year the 49ers saw everybody get hurt at MetDeath Stadium. What was it, week 2? Yeah, that was week 2. In that game, Sam Darnold was obviously overmatched. I mean, the Jets were overmatched talent-wise by the 49ers. But Sam threw one of the most impressive touchdown passes you'll ever see in garbage time of that game against San Francisco to Braxton Berrios. Remember, rolling away to the left side, flipped his hips, just kind of flicked a pass out there. It was a bolt to Berrios, who took it in for a score. Well, Frank Gore had a front row seat to that because he was on the Jets. So did the 49ers by extension. And Frank Gore then recommended that the 49ers pick up Sam Darnold. That's what he told Jed York. All right, more questions. More questions on this beautiful Bay Area day. The weather was great all across the country, I feel, today. It was nice in Nashville. It was good in Denver as well. I flew through Denver today, and I land here in the South Bay. Everything is great as well. Nobody's asking anything today. I guess you've all exhausted your question quotas at this point. You gotta help me pass the time. I help you pass the time all the time. Here I am. I'm getting an arm workout holding this phone up. There's no tripod for this live. What would the 49ers starting defensive line be according to Randy Daytona? That's the question. Well, obviously Nick Bosa, obviously Javon Hargrave, obviously Eric Armstead. The only spot up to question right now is that fourth spot, but if Drake Jackson makes the jump that the 49ers think he'll make, I think he could slot in there. If not, a higher floor option might be Clelin Ferrell, the free agent of the 49ers signed, formerly of the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Probably soon to be joined by the A's in Vegas, although that's not confirmed yet. That was crazy news. Well, there'll be 4 or 5 QBs in the 90-man. There'll only be 4. 4 on the 90-man, 5 would be crazy. Not going to get that crazy. 49ers have already drafted Christian McCaffrey. They're already ahead of all teams. Yes, that's true. They used their draft. That's a good one. I may steal that one for Twitter. Use all their draft picks for Christian McCaffrey. 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounder. What do I think of the Rodgers deal with the Jets? Well, the Aaron Rodgers deal with the Jets, what was it? 1st round pick swap, so it's like moving up from 15 to 13 for the Packers, plus a 2nd rounder, plus a conditional 1st rounder. I didn't think it was all that much. Man, that train is so loud. It's that light rail coming in from Levi Stadium, actually, here at Mountain View. When you compare it to, the halls that somebody like Jamal Adams commanded, right? Devontae Adams commanded. It's not all that much because it's Aaron Rodgers, but then you have to remember that, the Packers didn't have really any leverage here. They had some leverage, right? They had to get rid of Aaron Rodgers because he wasn't going to play for them anymore. The Jets wanted to speed the process up along. So it was a really undefined trade market here. You didn't know what it would command. There wasn't much precedent for a situation like this. So, Aaron Rodgers didn't command as much as situations that had trade leverage in the past, like somebody like Jamal Adams, right? But it wasn't nothing. And that conditional pick to me is interesting. It protects the Jets here in case Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. He's obviously of advanced age, and he might not last the whole season. So I think it's 65% of snaps to trigger that 1st round pick in the following season. But that 1st round pick swap, to me, the Jets aren't paying a whole lot if all they're doing is dropping back from 13 to 15. Will DeAndre Hopkins follow Aaron to the Jets? That'd be crazy. Jets loading up a bit. They already have Solomon Thomas, right, on the defensive side of the ball. When's the next show with Margot? I'm not going to see Margot here for a week or so. She's back in Nashville. They're doing final prep for the wedding as I take care of all this NFL draft stuff. So I'm saying after the wedding probably, because we're not going to be hanging out all too much before the wedding. So let's say after the wedding. Margot was a popular guest on the show. I'm very happy that people enjoyed it. All right, shoot the questions. I'm ready for more. Leaning back here on the little Town Plaza bench. Yeah, she'll be Mrs. Lombardi on the next show. She's Miss Kestner right now. Miss Kestner turning into Mrs. Lombardi on May 6th. Probably won't be able to do another show until after that date. The number 1 draft pick getting signed to a long-term contract. Exciting. What would be more exciting is if you guys would ask some questions so I could rapid fire this. Running backs in the draft for the 49ers. You know what? My mock draft came out this morning. It's up on The Athletic. Roschon Johnson out of Texas, 220-pounder. they might use a third-round pick on him. He had an official visit with the 49ers, so never say never. Do I think the 49ers should get Jadeveon Clowney? I don't think they can afford him. I don't think it's going to happen for that reason. I think he wants like $10 million a year. Probably won't get that, but the 49ers don't have a whole lot of space. They're trying to be sustainable for this. They're relying on Drake Jackson to make that second-year jump. To those asking about a specific position or player the 49ers are going to pick in the third round, that's a fool's errand, guys. They're not picking until number 99. The draft has so much variance, so much unpredictability. They're gonna decide. The 49ers themselves are going to decide what to do when they actually hit that number 99 pick. They can't be preordaining it right now at this point. It's just too early to do that. Again, another question, what position do you believe the Niners will target first? They don't even know. They pick at 99, they pick at 100, they pick at 102. So, I mean, those are essentially the same picks, right? Like, there's only one other team picking in that group of 4 clusters outside the 49ers. So, let's just wait and see who's on the board. You go best player available once you're a little bit further down in the draft, especially. That's got to be the look. The chances the 49ers draft Schoonmaker, the tight end, Luke Schoon, out of Michigan, right? Decent. They like this whole tight end class. It depends on if somebody like that lasts until number 99. But there's a good chance they pick a tight end with one of their earlier picks in this draft, and he's one of the many good ones in this 2023 draft class. What time is it, guys? I got to make sure I don't miss my train, and I don't see a clock right now. Can't see a clock because I'm holding my phone to my face. Somebody comment the time. That would be 5:25. Thank you. I think I'm a 5:47 train. Am I going to go another 22 minutes? Thanks. I appreciate it, everybody. You're saying 5:25. Am I going to go another 20 minutes? Maybe. We got to get a little bit bigger crowd, though. Seems like nobody's watching right now. We got a few good questions, though. I'm just trying to build up an appetite so I can eat tonight. Get a big burrito. Gonna go swimming in the bay tomorrow. This weather in the Bay Area is awesome. And get up. What position do I think is number one priority? I think best player available is the number one priority. I don't think the 49ers are entering this draft with a picking priority. They shouldn't, because they're not picking until number 99. Lynch talking up Zakelj. Well, somebody asked John Lynch about Nick Zakelj. So I think Nick Zakelj is a really smart guy. He's hanging out with Brock Purdy. That can't be a bad thing. I think the 49ers believe that he might be a starting guard or starting center of the future, and they do think that he's made big strides here over the course of a year. Now, there's a lot more to do to be able to earn a spot playing for this 49ers team. One, they just re-signed Jake Brendel. He's going to be the starting center. Two, I don't think that Zakel's really worked at center yet, even though they've talked about that potentially being in the cards in the future. Three, at guard, you've got a little bit of a logjam. Obviously, Aaron Banks established himself last year. Spencer Burford is at that right guard spot. He's got some work to do, but they believe in him. But they also signed John Feliciano, the seasoned veteran. I asked John Lynch today, does Feliciano have a chance to start? And Lynch essentially said yes. So for somebody like Nick Zakelj to crack into that playing time rotation, he's got a lot of work still left to do. But Nick Zakelj is roommates with Brock Purdy and Alfredo Gutierrez, so you could let that Brock Purdy surge rub off on him. Waiting for some more questions. I will solicit more questions for a few more minutes and answer as many of them as I can. Man, you guys are going to make me fill up all this dead air on my own. Well, we talked to Eric Armstead today. I mentioned Jake Brendel, Fred Warner, Christian McCaffrey. Will the Warriors win the series? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, well, with De'Aaron Fox now playing with a broken finger, I think the Warriors are looking a whole lot better. I'll be at the game Wednesday night in Sacramento. Should the 49ers trade Kinlaw? unless you're getting a big return for him, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and you're not going to get a big return for him. He could be a nice rotational piece for you. His contract is guaranteed. You have to get and by big, I mean significant return. I'm not talking first-round pick. You got to get something for Kinlaw. Fifth rounder, fourth rounder, but I don't think any team is willing to give that to the 49ers for Kinlaw. Let's let this train pass. The southbound Caltrain is roaring by here at Mountain View. See it there in the background? We need the northbound train, though. Still a good 15 to 20 minutes away. All right, so I just fielded the Kinlaw question. Hope that answered it. I'm open for more. Kinlaw's been hurt more than he's played, so it won't be worth that much. You're right, but the problem is the 49ers are still on the hook for his entire salary this year because he's a first-round pick. Kalia Davis is good to go. He was good to go last year, but they didn't activate him, but he was open for activation, let's put it that way. So that's going to be exciting to watch this coming season. Another depth piece on that interior. 49ers are locking and loading on that defensive line. It's going to be interesting to see who they add through this draft because they're going to pick at least one defensive lineman. Will it be an end? Is it going to be a tackle? We'll see. Plus undrafted free agency. Will the 49ers move around in the draft? If the opportunity presents itself, they might. Last year they tried to move around in the draft and there were no takers. They couldn't. So we'll see if the opportunity presents itself come Thursday and beyond. Lynch did not talk right tackle today. So no Jalen Moore update for you. We'll talk more to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch as this weekend progresses. Yes, I'm almost sure they're going to draft another tight end to try to bolster the position opposite George Kittle. That was another question. Now, these are good questions. Will Kyle and John be at the War Room for day one? Yes. I will be in the building too for day one, even though the 49ers don't currently have a pick. Just in case something happens, I'll be there giving you guys all of the updates. Is Ty Davis Price on the bubble? We'll see who the 49ers draft, see who they had this weekend. I don't think any running back outside of Christian McCaffrey is safe on this football team if the 49ers start stocking up on third-rounders at that position again. I missed a couple questions there because I was talking. Did Lance have anything to say after Lynch's presser? No, Lance wasn't around with the media today. The four players who spoke were the ones that I listed. McCaffrey, Warner, Brendel, and Armstead. That's the good question about Tashaun Gibson. He's going to be 33 this year. Is he going to be able to replicate last season's performance? We shall see. That's a question I don't have the answer to, but might be somebody that if you're the 49ers, you want to make sure that you have a contingency plan for years beyond this one as well. The 49ers have been picking best player available for the most part of the past few years. Occasionally they go need. They went need with Kinlaw to try to get a direct replacement for DeForest Buckner. Hasn't worked out great for the 49ers, so I think best player available, throwing a bunch of darts up against the wall is the way to go in the draft. Thanks, Ramos1. I appreciate you. Said you're the man, David. What would I like to see from Talanoa Hufanga in 2023? A lower missed tackle rate. I thought he got better as the season progressed last year, but that's important. You could talk about busted coverages, but it's hard to understand who's responsible on what play. I think that very clearly the missed tackle rate was Talanoa Hufanga's biggest weakness this last season. Is Gold done kicking for the 49ers? It appears so, but I wouldn't rule out a return. There could be a bluff going on right now. There certainly was in 2019. Could be one going on right now. We'll see what the 49ers do on draft weekend. This weekend is going to be deadline pressure in a lot of ways for the 49ers to make transactions or to not make transactions because you have to use that draft capital. Nigel Crane thinks that Gold is bluffing. As soon as he made his first statement that he wouldn't kick for the 49ers, I speculated that he might be, but only time will tell on the truth. Brandon Ayuk is on a rookie deal right now. The 49ers don't extend players on rookie deals after 3 years. So a trade is a possibility if the 49ers get offered enough, but they want to keep him. They talked about it today. 49ers are all about keeping Brandon Ayuk as an A-list player if he can prove himself. Is anything absolute? No, it's not. So we'll see We'll see if the league is really that interested in Brandon Ayuk. But the 49, I mean, John Lynch's comment today was, we are planning to do something special in 2023. If you're planning to do something special, you don't want to get weaker in the short run. And if you're trading away a receiver, an 1,000-yard receiver like Brandon Ayuk for draft picks, you're getting weaker in the short run. So, I mean, just listen to what John Lynch actually has been saying. You know, you could listen to all the rumors, you could listen to all the noise, but John Lynch has been fairly clear about the 49ers' plans with both Ayuk and Trey Lance. And they need Lance in the short run to be insulated at the QB position. They need Lance in the short run to be a good team as well. Will the 49ers continue to add depth at DB? Well, I would think so. I think you need a safety plan for the future. Sean Gibson's going to be 33. We just talked about that. He's not going to be around forever. You need... I don't think you could ever have enough cornerback depth. The 49ers learned that the hard way in 2021. So, yes, I do think they've got to continue bolstering that position. Let's do another time check. Can you guys help me out with what time it is? I don't want to miss my train. I got a dinner to be at, so I have to make this next train. Will Brock Purdy plateau? Well, the question is, has he already plateaued? I don't know. He was excellent last year. He was really good. If he plateaus where he's at, the 49ers will be more than happy. Thank you. 5:34. Got 13 minutes until the train comes. 13 minutes. So that's Brock Purdy's number, isn't it? Brock Purdy started at the number 14. Then he moved to 13. Would Joe Montana be a good QB coach? I don't think so, because he's never expressed interest in coaching. I think you have to want to be a coach. The hours you have to put in to be a coach are intense. I think you have to want to be a coach to be a good coach, and I don't think that Joe Montana wants to be a coach. I didn't say no Jay Kaner. Maybe the 49ers pick him up, although I think they're much more likely to pick up a QB that goes later in the draft. Haener might go 3rd to 5th round. I mocked Max Duggan out of TCU to the 49ers. He might be a 6th or 7th rounder. Matt Barrows, my colleague, mocked Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, to the 49ers. He might be like a 6th rounder. That might be more likely. Another loud-ass train. It's another southbound train. Somebody asked if Jason Verrett is officially done. Not official, but I haven't heard anything about his attempted comeback, if there is one. Thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers trade? Well, Aaron was able to go where he wanted to go, and that's the New York Jets. I thought the compensation was bleh. I mean, yes, there is a first-round pick, at least being swapped, and there might be another first-round pick on its way if Aaron Rodgers meets the 65% playtime condition, but it wasn't a massive haul. It was a kind of an unprecedented situation. I thought both sides were kind of backed up against the wall, and ultimately they said, let's get it done. Let's get this trade finished, and let's send over a pick. Let's do the pick swap. Let's send over a conditional first rounder, and let's send over a second rounder. Fair enough. Turn the page. We'll see Aaron Rodgers now playing for Robert Saleh in New York. Good for Saleh. I saw Saleh at the owners' meetings, and he was like, "Yep, he's got to get that quarterback." And the 49ers, the Jets, did get that QB. So Saleh's had a good defense out in New York. Now he's got Aaron Rodgers to pair with that good defense. 23 minutes in. It's a Christian McCaffrey number. 23 in. We are waiting. Will it be a massive disappointment if the Jets... if you've traded for Aaron Rodgers, who's in win-now mode because he's old, and you have a good defense, if you don't make the playoffs, that's not good. Especially since, the Patriots aren't what they once were in that division. I get it. The Bills are really good, but you don't have to win the division to make the playoffs. You go as a wild card. No, there is no position that would surprise me that the 49ers drafted. You're always going best player available. You're always trying to fortify your roster. You're not saying, we have too much of this. If you see a good player, especially past the 3rd round, you pick him. I appreciate you, Jerry. Jerry Fernandez said I'm a badass reporter. And you guys are all badasses because we got 100 people on now, which is good for one of these little handheld lives. I'm just waiting for a train. I didn't think I was going to go live. So I could either be productive with my time and come live here, and you could subscribe to The Athletic. You could hit the like button. You could subscribe to this channel. You could support everything that's going on, all this in-depth phone coverage, or I could waste my time, and none of that can happen. So I decided on the productive path. They have to decide 5th-year options by Monday. So John Lynch was saying, hey, we want to wait till the draft passes. Yeah, let's get up to 50 likes or more. That would be nice. I wish I could put some of these chats up on the screen. You know, maybe if I use StreamYard, I can. I'm going straight from YouTube. In the future, I should use StreamYard so I could put your comments up on the screen and ask the questions. I think I could use it from the phone. How early is too early to draft a kicker? I don't think it ever is too early. If you really like a guy, you draft him. But since they have Zane Gonzalez, maybe they like somebody who's not as popular in this draft. Maybe they could pick somebody a little bit later at that kicker position, or bring in an undrafted free agent and practice squad him for a year. So the thing is, if you use a third or a fourth round pick on a kicker, he's got to make the 53, or it's a big loss. So use a sixth or seventh rounder if you're not sure if he's going to make the 53 and you want to practice squad him for the season. That's the way that I would look at it. Yeah, in the future, I'm going to use StreamYard for this, guys, because then I could put your little comments down on the bottom of the screen. I think that's a little bit more fun. But I do think that, I mean, we've grown the audience here, even with a standard little YouTube stream. By the way, I'm in downtown Mountain View. My train is going to be coming in a few minutes. There's the Arch. That's Castro Street, downtown Mountain View. I took the light rail because I flew in today for this 49er stuff. So I flew in. I had an Ike sandwich as soon as I got off the plane at the San Jose airport. I took that Ike sandwich with me to Levi Stadium. I covered everything today. I got a video from the field at Levi Stadium. It's a big update. You can go check that out on Trey Lance and Sam Darnold and Brandon Ayuk. And then I took the light rail here to Mountain View, but they're doing some kind of electrification on the train track, so the train is not running as often as it normally does. So I had about 30 minutes to kill, and I'm on minute 27 of this live answering your 49ers questions. Now, you guys got to help me out. I think 5:47 is my train time. How much time do I have? I honestly don't have a watch, and I can't see the time. Am I going to make this train? It's at 5:47. 5:40? Okay. So we're going to have to start moving here in a little bit. Maybe you guys can follow me getting on the train. Yeah, 7 more minutes. Thing is, I've got all my stuff here. Like I said, you know, I woke up really early to be covering the 49ers for you today. I got my suitcase. I've got my backpack. This is where the laptop is. And we got to make it over there to the train tracks. Dinner's going to be a burrito. It's going to be really good. Meeting up with my friend Jack for dinner. So that's going to be nice. So I'm going to start moving over to the train tracks. Why don't we do that? I could probably, yeah. I roll my suitcase around, so we can do this. I try to be the hardest working. I'm not on the team, though. Oh, I run deadline pressure everywhere. I travel so much. If I make a train by 30 seconds, I consider it a win, because that means I've wasted no time. All right, we're making our walk now to the platform. I want more questions. If I'm going to stay on all the way to the bitter end here, then we need good questions until the bitter end. I wonder if that's my train coming. We're on minute 29 of this thing. No, there's another southbound train coming. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the mock draft article. It's about to get really loud. A train is about to blast by me. The southbound train. Is this an express? No, there's no way. I can't cross though. Oh my God, it might be an express. Yeah, that was an express. That was going really fast. I thought. Oh, that is? Okay. Okay, thanks. All right. Well, we got like 3 or 4 minutes. I am going to sign off. You guys, thanks for watching. Train all the way up to the Taqueria now. Like and subscribe. We'll see you all soon. Bye now.